Hello, Pally.
Today is Monday, March 18th, 2019.
And INFocus starts right now. The promposal competition begins.
And climate change protests spark around the world. All that and more is coming up on today's show.
Welcome to INFocus. I'm Maddie Drucker.
And I'm Anushka Sharma.
There's a lot going on around campus.
Here's some important announcements from today's campus bulletin.
Pally Cheer and Dance is holding 2 open practices for students to learn the routines and see what cheer entails. The practices will be held on March 26th and 28th. The actual tryouts will be the week of Monday, April 15th. There are less than 10 days left to purchase prom tickets. Go to the ASB web store or Miss Giffin's office in the Terra building to buy them. Sales end March 27th. I'm sorry. Speaking of prom, there's a chance to earn free tickets and a prize for asking a special someone to the dance. I'm sorry. Record and take pictures of your prom asking and post it to the Prom Asking Competition's Facebook page to be entered in the competition. The post with the most reactions will be determined the winners.
The City of Palo Alto is looking for sister city ambassadors. Neighbors Abroad is now accepting applications for its summer exchange program from students from Oaxaca, Mexico. Applications are due by March 31st and can be completed at the link on the screen. Students considering a school with a Greek system and have questions, concerns, or want information on sororities are invited to have tea and learn more. RSVP by this Wednesday to the email on the screen. Sophomores interested in attending Camp Unity have an available opportunity. Pally will be hosting Challenge Day, a mini Camp Unity on campus for sophomores this year. If you are interested in attending, stop by the Wellness Center to learn more.
Moving on now from what's going on around campus to what's happening in the world and locally today.
Let's take a look at what's topping today's headlines in today's News Minute.
Families of the 50 people killed in the Christchurch mosque shootings are enduring an increasingly agonizing wait for the bodies of the victims to be released as New Zealand reels from the unprecedented tragedy. 3 days after Friday's attack, New Zealand's deadliest shooting in modern history, relatives were anxiously waiting for word on when they could bury their loved ones. The Prime Minister of New Zealand says all the bodies will be returned by Wednesday. The Christchurch community is paying tribute to the victims with memorials.
New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand officially announced her run for president in 2020 yesterday morning. The move comes 2 months after Gillibrand set up a presidential exploratory committee and began introducing herself to voters in Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. Gillibrand says that if America could land astronauts on the moon, we can definitely achieve a universal health care. We can provide paid family leave for all, end gun violence, pass a Green New Deal, get money out of politics, and take back our democracy. With her declaration, Gillibrand becomes the 14th major Democrat to officially launch a presidential campaign.
Tens of thousands of students around the world skipped school Friday to protest inaction on climate change. It was one of the largest turnouts so far in a months-long movement that included the U.S. for the first time, in an event organizers call the U.S. Youth Climate Strike. In the U.S., there were events in nearly every state, and many who turned out saw a generational divide over climate. Even students at Pally participated in the protests. The mass protest comes as public concern about climate change is up in the U.S., apparently driven by more extreme weather events, as well as a series of reports on the increasingly dire consequences of the warming climate. Now moving on from the future of the world to the past.
And Noor Navaid, our very own resident historian, has been learning more.
What do you have for us today, Noor?
Well, Maddie and Anushka, on this day in history in 1937, tragedy struck the state of Texas when nearly 300 students were killed in an explosion of natural gas at their school, the Consolidated School of New London. The school itself sat on a large oil and natural gas field. The area was dominated by 10,000 oil derricks, 11 of which stood right on school grounds. At the end of the school day, a powerful explosion leveled the school. The blast was felt by people 40 miles away and killed most victims instantly. The exact cause of the spark that ignited the gas was never found, although it is now known that the gas could have been ignited by static electricity. As a result of this incident, wet gas was required to be burned at the site rather than piped away. That's all from me. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Noor.
Now onto the world of Pally sports.
Max Bonstetter is in the studio now with the latest in Pally sports news. Max, how are our Pally teams doing?
They're doing fantastic. Firstly, Pally track was at the St. Francis Invitational Saturday and did pretty well. Multiple athletes got their personal records and orders came close to beating theirs. Now onto the scores from the weekend. On Friday, JV baseball destroyed Homestead 11-0. Varsity also played Homestead and came out on top 3-1. Boys varsity volleyball beat Gunn on Friday by a score of 3-1 as well. Moving on to Saturday's games, boys varsity volleyball team played again but came up short to Mission San Jose 2-0. JV baseball was in action again on Saturday and crushed Gunn 18-2. Varsity followed, defeating Gunn 6-3. Great job, boys. Today we have some girls lacrosse action at Los Gatos. JV plays at 5:15, followed by varsity at 7. That's all from me. Back over to you.
Well, Anushka, the weather this weekend was fantastic. It was so sunny it almost felt like summer, even though we're still in March.
I couldn't agree more, Maddie. Hopefully the weather stays this good. Our meteorologist, Thayer Kacher, is in the studio now with today's weather report.
Thayer, what can we expect out there today?
Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Anushka. Looking at today's weather report, looking at our Bay Area temperatures, we have the same temperature with a high of 75 and a low of 50 in Oakland and Palo Alto. In San Francisco, we have a high of 71 and a low of 50, with San Jose having a high of 77 and a low of 50 as well. Looking on to later this week, we can see the showers returning on Wednesday with a high of 57 and a low of 48. On Thursday and Friday, we can see the showers continuing. Both days, we have a high of 60 with a low of 46 on Thursday and a low of 48 on Friday. That's all for me. Back to you.
Well, that does it for today's episode.
Be sure to visit our website to check out old episodes, check the bulletin, or just send us an email.
Until next time, have a great day, Pally.